speaker. Unfortunately, we don't have any time for question and answers. Ashutosh is going to talk to us about Kalinga architecture. He is also an engineer and MBA professional. He works for the Gaurav Pradhan Foundation right now after a career in data computing and all sorts of things that I don't understand. And he's keenly interested in the cultural heritage of Bharat and Sanatan Dharma. And he's been writing articles about the tradition and culture of Odisha in various portals. Over to you, Ashutosh. And just a request, please ensure that your presentation sticks to time, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Shefali. Thanks, Indic Academy, for giving me this opportunity to share my understanding on the Kalinga architecture. So I will share my screen, and in the meanwhile, I will stop sharing the video so that the bandwidth can 1 second. So, as Shefali said, currently I am working with Gaurav Pradhan Foundation, and basic idea after my 14 years of corporate experience, I thought let me do something for my cultural heritage, because that has been my interest area since my school days. So that's how I started on writing on articles, blogs, and then studying temples and all. So in this section, what we will, I have divided section into 3 parts. A brief intro about the various architectures, though all the 3 previous speakers have kind of covered it brilliantly. And then the next section, the Kalinga architecture, in detail about what are the various types of temples, what are the various parts of temples, and how it has evolved over over the centuries. And then I will try to cover some 6-7 temples from Bhubaneswar, Konark, and Puri. Moving the first part. So now, as our previous speaker says, mentioned in detail, I'm not going to detail. I'll just say one thing, that Vesara architecture was kind of a hybrid architecture, developed from Nagara and Dravida, and the architectural experts kind of mention Kalinga as one of the substyles of Nagara, where it has developed into some unique magnificence, which we'll see in the subsequent sections. So this is the basically a kind of a representation where you can see the typical kind of a difference between those 2 styles in the northern and the southern style. Coming on to the most important section, understanding the nuances of Kalinga architecture. So this section I have kind of divided into majorly 3 sections. One is intro, types, parts, and evolution. So as per Indian Shilpa Shastra texts and epigraphical evidence from Karnataka, there are 4 types of architectures: Nagara, Dravida, Vesara, and Kalinga. So when we talk about Kalinga, which means the modern day Odisha, in its geographical extent in ancient past included present Odisha and Andhra Pradesh and West Bengal, some parts of them. So there are basically 3 types of temples, that is Khakra Deola, Rekha Deola, Pidhar, Bhadra Deola. So majority of the Bimana, the Garbhagriha had Rekha Deola kind of a concept. The Khakra Deola was limited to very few Shakti temples, and the Pidha and Bhadra Deola has been majorly used for Jagmohana, and then maybe for sometimes during Natamandipa and Bhogamandapa. So now coming on the parts of the temple, I will explain it in detail. So it had actually the main 4 parts, that is when the mature phase came into picture: Deola, Jagmohana, Natamandira, and Bhogamandapa. As the name suggests, Natamandira was the hall of dance. It was used for festivals and for some royal functions and all. Bhogamandapa was the hall of offering, which was developed in the mature phase. And the evolution can be categorized into 4 parts, that is early, middle, phase of maturity, and the ultimate climax, that their descendants. Decadence is nothing but when the Britishers came, the Mughals came, they started on destroying the temple. So there was not that much temple built after the phase of maturity. So typical Kalinga architecture looks like this: a Garbhagriha, which means kind of a Rekha Deola structure, that is a curvilinear peak, as explained by our previous speakers. Then the Jagmohan and Natamandira had the Pidha Deola kind of structure, and the Bhogamandapa was sometimes a Jagmohan Pidha Deola kind of a concept, or sometimes a Khakra Deola. So now, if you see these 3 pictures, depict the 3 types of temples. The Rekha Deola, it is nothing but all the 3 temples are developed on a square plan. The Rekha Deola is with a curvilinear tower. That is where majorly the Garbhagriha or the Vigraha is positioned. So we have the means the image of Lingaraj temple, which was believed to be the most means brilliant architecture of means ancient India from Kalinga architecture perspective. Then in the Pidhar Deola, it has also a means kind of a square plan topped with pyramidal towers composed of horizontal tiers. So you can clearly see there is horizontal tiers means kind of built in a pyramid structure. So where there are some different means levels. So in means Konark we had 3 tiers, but in means left hand side means you can see in Lingaraj temple, the next adjacent to Vimana, it had 2 tiers. Then the next is the Khakara Deola, which is very few temples. There are 3 to 4 temples in Odisha which have been developed in this thing, where the base is again square client, but the top is means kind of an what do you say, semi-cylindrical top. So this was majorly means for some few Shakti temples. Betar Deola is one of the classic examples, which was built in the formative phase. So now coming on to a little bit into details of the overall temple architecture. So these were the 4 sections which I was mentioning: Deola, Jagmohana, Natamandira, and Bhogar Mandapa. Deola means had 2 means kind of an means architecture themes. That is, one is the Rekha Deola or Khakra Deola. Then Jagmohana was means when means Jagmohana started on building, it was a flat roof rectangular hall. We'll see how it means happened in the formatic phase. That is Parsurameswara temple, which is there. Which was the first instance of Jagmohana addition, which was a flat roof toll. And going ahead, everything was in Pidhar Deola. So the Natamandira and Bhoga Mandapa were majorly the Pidhar Deola. So there is a traditional belief. So that's the quote that's why I mentioned, that in Odisha, when the craftsmen who were known as the
Not getting the sound.
So Sepali, is it right now?
Yeah, right now we can hear it. You need to cut down on slides if you need to, but speak a little slower, please.
Okay, sure. So now
you can cut down on the number of slides in the beginning, instead of showing many temples, but when you're explaining, just slow down a little bit so that people can understand.
Sure. So now the voice is clear?
Now the voice is clear.
Okay, so maybe there is some network issue. So there is a traditional belief when the craftsmen of Odisha, who were generally termed as Maharana as local language, they used to kind of consider Vimana, that is the Garbhagriha, as the bridegroom, and the Jagmohana as the bride. So on the right hand side picture, you can see the means pictorial representation of means Pidhar and Deola, that is Jagmohana and the Vimana. So we can see that it consisted of 4 parts, as it was beautifully explained by our first speaker. Pista, which was the platform on which the temples were built. Then the Bada, which is the vertical portion. Till the Bada part, the Rekha and Pidhar Deola were means kind of similar. Then the next portion, that is the Gandi. That is where the difference between the Pidhar and Rekha Deola started. So in means Rekha Deola, it was a convenient space, and the Pidhar, it's a pyramidal with horizontal tiers. Then both of the temples had a Mastaka region which consisted of Amalaka, Kalasa, and all. So in the next slide, in this slide, we will try to see the various parts of the Rekha Deola in little bit in detail. In the sense, just to guys make you understand what these parts are. So in most of the Kalinga temples which were developed in the modern day, means the mature phase, that is, let's say Jagannath Temple Puri or Lingaraj Temple Bhubaneswar. So the pista part or the platform part was not there. So that means the temple directly rose from the land, means from the ground. So then it had the 3 parts, that is the Bada, which has again the 5 parts, that is Pavaga, the upper Talajanga, and upper Janga divided by Bandhana. Then there was the Baranda. So in this Bada part, there were the various architectural motifs, which I'll cover in the next steps, where it was beautifully designed so that it becomes kind of an interesting view for the bhaktas who are visiting the temple. Then on the Gandi person has various kind of tiers. In the temples of Kalinga were built on either a Triratha, Pancharatha, Saptaratha, or Navaratha. Majorly most of the temples were built on Pancharatha. Pancharatha means you can see one Grahapaga, then the absent Paga was Anuradha Paga, then the Kanika Paga. So similarly on the right hand side, it is again the Anuradha Paga and Kanika Paga. So that's how the Pancharatha line terms. So how the temple rose, and then the Kanika Pagas were kind of differentiated by bhumis. again cut into horizontal tiers differentiated by bhumis. So these bhumis had various sculptural designs or architectural designs. Then the topmost person of the temple was Mastaka, which consisted again of Beki, Amra, Kapuri, and Kalasa. This Mastaka was one of the most important aspects of the temple design in Kalinga architecture, because the overall gravity of the temple depends on the position of the Kalasa and the Kapuri. The reason being, I will give a classic example of Konark temple. We know that the Konark temple has been, the Rekha Devula part, Vimana part has been destroyed. There is a story behind it. The then king, when he ordered the temple to be built, the Maharanas, 1200 Maharanas were kind of employed, and when they built the team, so he had given a condition that the sun from rise to fall, so the sun rays should be falling on the main vigraha placed in the temple. So, but the Maharanas were unable to kind of understand the design the science how to build. So there is a 12-year-old boy named Dharma, who was the main the son of the main Maharana. So he cut the magnet in such a way and positioned it on the Kalasa that only the sun rays started on falling on the main vigraha. In rainfall, nothing entered, only the sun rays. Now when he thought that 1200 people could not build it, and I built it, if the king comes to know, he might just punish those 1200. So he kind of jumped from the temple terrace, and he lost his life. Because of that reason, that temple was never done pratishtha. So there was no puja done. And when the Britishers came, so that the magnet was so powerful that used to pull the ships, stop the ships. So the Britishers, what they did was that they took out the magnet and took it to Britain. So the moment they took out the magnet, the whole the Vimana structure just collapsed. So that was the reason why this Mastaka is very important part. And then coming on to the right hand side picture, where we have tried to define the Rahapaga, Kanikapaga, and Paga. So Rahakapaga was the, you can see one of the space, that was the place in the Gandhi section where we had Pasav Devtas. This is very important structure in Kalinga architecture. In Shiva temples, we generally had Bhagwan Ganesha in the south, Devi Ma Parvati on the west, and Bhagwan Kartika on the north. Similarly, in Vishnu temple, his avatars were placed, like Bhagwan Varaha, Bhagwan Narsimha, and Bhagwan Vamana. Now coming on to the Pidha Devula. So we saw the same kind of an architecture, only the Gandhi person was different, where we can see horizontal tiers being arranged with respect to pyramidal structure. And there are certain tiers, let's say like in Lingras, there were 2 tiers of differentiation, but in Konark, that Jagmona, it were 3 tiers. The Khakra Devula is the oblong structure with a semicircular roof. Now coming on to the another important aspect of the Kalinga architecture was the sculptural features. So sculptural features were basically kind of have been defined by the archaeologist experts like Dr. K.S. Bhera or Dr. K.C. Panigrahi, who have written the maximum portions and understanding on the Kalinga architecture. They have kind of defined it as architectural motifs and sculptural motifs or decorative motifs. Architectural motifs were nothing but on the main walls in the Pavaga and on the Gandhi, they had made miniature temple motifs. Miniature temple motifs is nothing but the mini representation of the temples. Let's say like the Khakra Mundi had a representation of the Khakra type of temple. The Pidha Mundis had a representation of the Pidha type of temple. And then there was another thing which is known as Vajramundi. The Vajramundi is nothing but it has been designed in a brilliant way with 2 superimposed medallion. So if you can see in this the right hand side corner image, that is the Vajramundi of Lingras, you can see over the there are 2 superimposing figures on each level. So that's how the Vajramundi was done. Then we can see the image of Pidhamundi on the upper image, that is it was built on the Lingras temple, and similarly one of the Khakra Mundis depended on the left hand side bottom image with an Panigrahana initiative, a Panigrahana ritual. The Panigrahana ritual is one of those typical vidhis of a marriage function in Odisha. So that's how, and some of the major pujas also in the festivals. So now coming on to other 2 architectural motifs which were built was the projecting lions. So the projecting lions, when they built it, it was a moment of pride. So what means in the projecting lion was that you can see on the right hand side image, the corner image, where the lion is sitting on an elephant. that image will show in close when we go to Lingaraj temple and in Konark temple. So that means that we are proud rulers, and our temples are proud movements. So that's how it has been done. Now moving on to the next part, that is the decorative motifs. So decorative motifs were one of the important aspects where means there is a saying that the Odisha means architecture was never sort of sculptural influence. That means it had a long tradition of sculptural art before the temple architecture started on taking thing. So when they built the temple, they made an kind of an equal representation to architecture and sculpture. They never gave one thing important over the others. So that was the beauty, and various decorative motifs which found were basically categorized into two types. That is the religious and the secular ones. The religious ones where we had Dikpalas, who are the guardians of the temple, which were present on the 8 corners of the temple, that is north, south, west, east, northeast, northwest, southwest, and southeast. Then we had the Naganagi figures and the certain of the Pasha Devtas. So those were the decorative motifs. And then the other part, that is the secular part, where we had let's say a royal courtyard scene. So on the right hand side corner you can see a king sitting with her queen, and then we had Vyala figures. Vyala figures was nothing but where animal was kind of represented standing on another animal. So you can see on the Rajarani temple, we can see a lion standing on an elephant. Similarly, Gaja Vyala means again an elephant standing on a lion. And Nara Vyala in Konark, where Nara kind of a representation of animal standing on an elephant. Then one of the important aspects of Kalinga architecture in sculptural motifs were erective sculptures. So now there are very theories why those scenes were present on the temple and all. There are two theories present. One of the thing is that a temple is considered as a place where you come and attain salvation or moksha for that moment. So Indian life, or the human life, has been categorized into 4 categories: youth, adolescence, then means marriage and death. So now when you attend marriage and all, so that is you live in sansaric life. So when the sansaric life is there, that's where the erective cultures represented that thing. So that was and then the death part, that is the moksha. So the theory is that when you enter the temple, you see those arterial motifs, because you take a circle around the temple, then you enter the temple, and then once you enter the the Jagmohana or the Garbhagriha of Shiva temple, so you should be left off of all those sansaric maya. So that's the reason the architectural motifs or the erective sculptures were carved on the temples. There is another aspect to it, that during that time there was a very important need for education on sex, because if it was not done, that might be a crime. So the kings of those era, they said that okay, let's kind of educate people on the on a place where they can visit without any hindrance. So that was the reason how those things were built. Then in this slide, I will let us try to speak a minute on the 3 images which you are seeing on the right side. That is nothing but Kalinga's maritime trade. So that Kalinga's maritime trade is an important aspect of the architectural or the cultural history of Odisha, because depending on this trade, there are sayings that Kalinga actually influenced the overall cultural heritage of Suvarnadvipa. Suvarnadvipa is nothing but the modern day Southeast Asian islands, that is Bali, Suvarna, and Java. So now these Kalinga trade was very famous, and then we have this during Kartik Purnima we have this Boita Bandhana festival. On the day of the Kartik Purnima, in the ancient days, the sailors used to start for trade to the Southeast Asian islands, and these 3 images depict that thing. The first image is showing shipment of elephants. Carrying elephants, and it has been represented in Brahmeswara Mandir in Bhubaneswar. Then the second piece is an palm leaf painting, which has been restored in the Bhubaneswar Museum, the Regional History Museum. And in the last thing, you can see that boat with king on the Bhogumandap of Jagannath Mandir. So the king was traveling on the trade. So that's how the trade evolved and the Kalinga architecture came into thing. And then there was another architectural motive, decorative motive was animals royal scenes. So we can see in this temple on this level, the vertical figure on the top figure, we are seeing a giraffe trait, which kind of question from Konark. And the below figure, there is a royal scene. That is the secular scene where a Raja is kind of being heard by his disciple, and there is a war depicting scene as well. So now coming on to the last phase of this overall architecture, how does the architecture actually evolve over a period of time? So the pre-Kalinga phase does not have that much temples, but some of the things I said that there is certain temples with Rekha Deola only. So from Mahabharata, which I consider Ityas, not mythology. So Bhima, Yudhishthira, Kuntila, Deola were still available on the Mahendragiri mountain with some Jain temples in Koraput district. And then in the formative phase was the phase where the Jagmohana started on coming in. Means previously there was only Rekha Deola, but the Jagmohana, that is the Sabha where the Bhaktas used to stand. So it first developed in Parsurameswar temple and Baital temple, where are the two classic examples which has a horizontal Jagmohana. In the transitional phase, what happened, that horizontal Jagmohana took evolved as a Pidha structure, that is the pyramid structure. And the Mukteswar temple was one of the classic examples which I will cover in detail. Then the mature phase was there where the Nata Mandira and the Bhogamandapa was added in, and those means, let's say, the two classic examples which are treated as the artificial mausoleums were Lingaraj and Jagannath temple. And Sun temple Konark has a unique thing which I will explain. So this brings me to the end of the overall architecture. So now I will take you through certain of the temples. The first one is Parsurameswar temple, because this is the first temple which came into the formative phase within Jagmohana. So you can see in the middle image that how the Jagmohana is looking like a horizontal structure with a Rekha Deola, which was done in Trirathan plan, and the Gandhi was Pancharathan plan. Before going on to, I will try to spend a minute in explaining the Ekamra Khetra's means what do our traditional folklore say about. So now, as per our Puranas or the scriptures like Ekamra Purana, Kapila Samhita or Sunati Mahoday, after marriage, when Shivji and Parvati ji shifted to Kasi, then all the gods used to come, and Shivji was unable to get a time for meditation, because we know that he keeps into meditation. So he searched for a place and he went to Jambu Deepa, and in Kalinga the Desa of Jambu Deepa, and he sat under a mango tree and he started on doing meditation. So now that was the reason why that place is known, this Bhubaneswar is known as Ekamra Khetra. That means one mango. Ekamra is nothing but a Sanskrit for one mango. So below that mango he was doing. So when Parvati ji for many years or centuries could not find out where is Shivji into, because then she went to Brahma Bhagavan and she requested, please help me out. Then Brahma ji guided, and she from her divine vision could see that Shivji sitting in the Ekamra. When she went there, she saw that the cows are milking milk directly on Shivji when he's meditating without anything. So then she took the avatar of Gopalini. Gopalini is nothing but a cowherd woman, and she started on milking the cow and pouring the milk on Shivji. So then when she was there, that's when two demons, that is Kirti and Basa, they came and they were perplexed by her beauty and kind of proposed her for marriage. She said that now I'm doing a puja, give me 21 days, after that I will marry. And she conveyed this thing to Shivji. Shivji came in the form and disguised and in form of a Gopalan. Gopalan is nothing but the form of cowherd, that is Krishna's avatar. So then Parvati ji asked, why are you in Krishna's avatar? Then he said that if you can come as a Gopalani, I can also come as Gopalani to meet you. Then he gave her an answer that these two demons have a blessing. They cannot be killed by any god or goddesses. So cast them into the land. So then when they came, she said that, okay, I will marry, but on one condition, whoever carries me on his shoulder and completes one round of Ekamra Khetra. So they fought, and she said, okay, I will carry, both of you carry me. When they started on carrying her, after 2 steps, they said, you are so happy, we cannot carry, and she crushed her into the ground. And they went below the down, and then there a pond appeared, which is known as now Devi Padahara, that is God who killed the demons through her 2 feet. And then she felt tired and slept under neem tree. Bhagavan Shivji came and started on means kind of placating her feet and all. She got means why are you giving me curse? Then he said that it is nothing in Sanatana Dharma. If a wife is doing such good for the humanity, then I can also serve her. She said, I'm thirsty. Then Bhagwan just put the trident into the place, and then various rivers gave one kind of drop, and Bindusagar was formed, and she drains the water, and she gave a blessing that whoever takes a dip here, he will be relieved of his own sins. That is known as Bindusagar. Now, various the gods visited during this time to Ekamra Kshetra. So wherever the god was staying, let's say the Parshurama Bhagwan, when he came and he visited and he stayed here, after he left, Bhagwan Shivji gave the blessing that whoever stayed, God stayed there, a linga will be worshipped there, and then that the linga will be known with the name like that, Parsurameswara. Parsuram Bhagwan is worshipped here in the form of a linga. That's how the Parsurameswara temple is went, and that is one interesting aspect as well. So as like Vishnu Bhagwan goes for Shiva Sayana for 4 months, so as is Lingas Mahaprabhu, so he needed a guardian for the Ekamra Kshetra. That's where he invited Parsuram to guard it. So that's why this temple has an importance in Ekamra Kshetra. So now one of the important aspects in Ekamra Kshetra is this Sapta Matrika images. This was the first time where the 7 images forms of goddess Devi was crafted on the Jagmona. Then on the walls, exterior walls, we have Parshadevtas like Ganesha, and then we have Kartika and Pikak. So this Kartika and Pikak is an unique form that is not available in many other temples, where Kartika is seated on his Vahana. Then we have the Mahisamardini image and certain of the animal image hunting scenes. Now going on to the next temple, that is the Vaitala Mandir. So we will just go through the sculptural things. So we have the Parshadevtas, where here the Parshadevtas are Devis actually, Parvati, Mahisamardini and Ardhanarishwari on the 3 walls. Then we have the other decorative motifs like Alesa Kanyas, that is the female figures which used to appear. And then on this temple, we have a Vajra Mastaka in the front. So where we see a Nataraja in his position, Siddhi triangle, and then Harihara form, which is quite relevant in Odisha, Vishnu and Shivji's form is worshipped like in Lingas. So now going on to the next temple, the Mukteswar temple. This is what our first speaker said, how it is kind of considered gem of Odisha architecture, because this is the first thing where the Jagmono kind of started on taking a pyramid structure. You can see the pyramid structure, and one of the important aspects of this thing was in Torana. So this is the only temple, one of the critical temples where we have a Torana, what is a arc gateway, or it is known as Mangal Torana or auspicious gateway once you enter there, and it had kind of influence of Buddhist and Jain architecture on that. On the tower, you can see that it is the Rekha Deola is actually mixture of Pidha and Rekha Deola in terms of horizontal stacks are being built in a pyramid structure with Natarajas, and we have Kirti Mukhas. So now coming on to the Jagmohan, a little bit details on the architecture on Jagmohan. So there are carvings around the entrance to the Mukhasala, which is known as the Jagmohan as well. And we can see that the walls have diamond shaped lattice windows on the 2 sides, as you can see in the left hand side image. And there are certain carvings on the Mukhasala, and there is a relevant thing that Navagrahas used to be carved on the entrance door to Shiv temple. Since Mukteswar temple is again a Shiv temple, so the Navagraha was carved on the entrance to the temple. And then on the lattice windows, when we zoom the image little bit, so we can see various Panchatantra stories being depicted by monkeys playing in various humorous ways. This is one of those things because that time the education was limited to very few people. So that was the reason the temple became an educational kind of an institute for various devotees. So now coming on to the Mangal Torana, that is one of the architectural magnificence. I don't see this thing. I'm not aware of those things in the north or the south. But this Mangal Torana, you can see that certain of the both in the front and the back side there were carvings of Alasa Kanyas, various birds, animals, female figures in decorative positions and all. So this is one of those things which was classic. And one of the aspects before we move to Rajrani Temple, there is a historical or religious aspect linked to this name Mukteswara. So there is a belief here that those means husband wife who never used to get kids before they, if they used to go to this, there is a Maricha Kunda within this campus. If they take a bath in that kunda, then they are blessed with kids. So this is the one of the important aspects. Now coming on to Rajarani temple. Radharani temple was little bit advanced form of Mukteswara temple because where much more sculptural designs were designed, like the Naganagi Bhaila figures started on coming. Again, it had a Rekha Deola and a Jagmohan as a Peter Deola. Certain of the other sculptures which were present on the Rajarani temple are Alasa Kanyas and some of the females who are lost in the Sringar positions. That's what our first speaker, he was explaining how our temples used to represent various kind of ornamentations which the women go through and all. Then we have this Sikharas, Anga Sikhara as a miniature Deola in this temple. This was the first temple where the Anga Sikhara or the miniature temple came into a miniature Rekha Deola came into picture, and which was relevant in then going ahead in Lingaraj and Jagannath temple. So then there were Dikpalas standing on the four walls of Rajarani on the 8 corners. So some of the Dikpal images which I could get from net, because right now in Odisha the temples are not yet open for public, so I could not go and click any photos. And there is another thing, mobile is not allowed into many temples. So whatever is there, I got the images is from Architectural Survey of India's, their libraries and all. So here we see representation of four gods, that is Agni, Yama, Nirti and Varuna. Now coming on to the next 3 temples, which I will a little bit spend in detail, that is Surya Mandir, that is Konark temple. This temple was known as, this place is known as Arka Khetra. Arka Khetra is nothing but a place where the worship of sun god happens. And it had a Vimana, Jagmohan and Natamanditra. But I stated you the story, how right now the Vimana is not existing. Only certain portions, the parts of Devtas have been again remodeled by the Architectural Survey of India, means where they were trying to redraft the temple. Though, but the left hand side bottom temple means the figure by Percy Brown. So it actually shows how the temple was built, how the structure was there. And one of the unique things about this temple is that it was built in the form of a chariot. It is known as celestial chariot, means a god's chariot with 12 pair of wheels. Means that 24 total wheels, 12 on each side, and drawn by 7 means horses in spirited gallop. That's how the design was built. So the Vimana has been destroyed because of that. Means when the Britishers took the magnet, that was a sad history that Britishers and the Mughals destroyed our temples. Then the Jagmohan, you can see that it is in 3-tier structure. You can see there are 3 tiers between when before going to the Mastakarism. Then the Natamandita was the first time developed in this temple, in the Konark temple. The Natamandita had actually 4 starways, that is from 4 divisions. But the Natamandita was not attached to Jagmohan in this temple. Because of the reason, there was then Arunda Stamba. If I go back to the slide 1, so you can see that here an Aruna Stamba is there, already been installed, Aruna Stamba. So then that was the reason why the Natamandita could not have been attached to the Jagmohan. So then in future when the dynasty changes, that Ganga dynasty came, they took this Aruna Stamba and placed it in front of Puri Jagannath temple, which is currently now. And the most interesting aspect of this Surya temple is the chariot wheel. So we can see that how the spokes have been brilliantly done, and how the details of various architectural structural motifs are there. Now, apart from this, in the overall campus, we had 2 temples, that is Maya Devi temple, which is on the left-hand side, the topmost left temple, which was kind of dedicated to Maya Devi, who was the main wife of Bhagwan Surya Devta. Then we had one Vishnu temple. So this is a brick temple on the back side. So now there is a story. So previously, as for folklore, this was a Devi Ramachandi's temple, who was again wife of Surya Devta. But when in the Chaudaganga Dev dynasty came, he was replacing every Sakta image with a Vaishnadev image. So then he changed it with the Vishnu Vigraha. So these were certain of the motifs which were present. Surya Devta on the parts of walls of the Vimana, which has been published by ASI. Then we have this rampant lion. So the royal what do you say, beautiful figure where the lion is kind of carving on the elephant. Then there were various female figures on the Jagmona playing musical instruments like drummer or cymbals, small cymbals, and then we have Martaganda Bhairava as well. And certain of the carvings on the Bhogamandapa, you can see Naganadi figures, Mithuna figures, and female postures, again small mini miniature figures. And the Navagraha Mandir is one of the important attractions in the compound. Then coming on to Jagannath Temple. So now Jagannath Temple is kind of started by Chodaganga Dev and was finished by Annavandri Dev. So now it has been built in the form of Sankha Khetra. It is known as Sankha Khetra. So we had Ekamra Khetra, that is Bhubaneswar, then we have Arka Khetra, Konark, and then Jagannath Temple, all the temples and all, everything is Sankha Khetra. You can see the position of the Chaturdha Murti, that is Bhagwan Balabhadra, Devi Ma Subhadra, and Jagannath Mahaprabhu, and Sudarshan Chakra placed on Ratna Vidhi in the center. That's how the Sankha Khetra looks like. Again, this temple had four distinct sections: Devda, Mukhasala, Nata Mandira, and Bhogamandapa. In the next figure, I will try to show you the position. So this has been taken from Odisha Tourism website, official website. So you can see the first figure, that is the Rekha Devda. Then we had the Jagmona, that is the pyramidal structure. And then we have the Nata Mandira. But previously the Nata Mandira was used as a Bhogamandapa. But after when Lingaraj temple come into picture and the Bhogamandapa was developed specially, then they shifted the Bhogamandapa to the next place, and then they created another in the Pidha Devda. One of the important aspects is the Nila Chakra, which is on the top of the Rekha Devda. The colors over the cloud, the flower, which is known as Patita Pavana. One important aspect is that the Patita Pavana always flows in the direction opposite to the flow of the wind. And that is there, still now scientists have not been able to find out the reason, but it always flows in the opposite direction of the wind. Then we have the Simha Dwara, which is the main entrance door, which are known as Jaya Vijaya Dwar, where they used to guard as guardians. And we have the Aruna Stambha, we can see here, which has been taken from Konark and placed. Certain of the architectural carvings which are there on the walls, like boat with king of on the Bhogamandapa of Jagannath Mandira, which actually signified Kalinga's maritime trade, which I mentioned in that section. Then we have Baraha Murti, because this is one of those Parshav Devta, because it's a Vishnu temple. Jagannath is nothing but a form of one Vishnu. Then we have Devi Ma Ganga Murti and Naganittika and some erotic and royal courtyard scenes. So one of the things is that for Jagannath temple, nobody can click photos, and these photos I have scanned through one of the books which was available on a website from Architecture Survey. We can see certain of the Pidha Mundis in the below temple here. So the miniature motifs which I was mentioning, and some cultural details on the right facet. And here we can see two females standing on the north facet. In the last slide, we'll try to see that culture of the statue of Mother and Slide. So this relationship was considered to be the more pious. So then that was the reason why it was reprinted on the Jagannath temple. So now going on to the last section, that is Lingaraj temple. So now Lingaraj, the story means the Itihas, I said it to you. So now Bhubaneswar gets its name from Tribhuvaneswara, which means the Bhagwan of the three worlds. And Tribhuvaneswara is worshipped in the form of Lingaraj in Bhubaneswar in Lingaraj temple, which is nothing but the king of lingams. What does the king of lingam means? We all know about the Jyotirlingas, 12 Jyotirlingas, where very few are aware that the Jyotirlingas, there is a root connection with this Lingaraj temple. Means all the Jyotirlingas report it out to Lingaraj. So if we do a carving below, many feet below the earth, we'll see that there is like a tree has a various roots spread out. So that's how Lingaraj temple is there, and then there are 12 Jyotirlingas linked to it. Then the Harihara form. So there is a story. There is a historical aspect when the Harihara form started worship, because previously it was a pure Shivji's temple. Because we have known the story of Gopalan, Gopalan avatar of Shivji, kind of coming in front of Gopalini avatar of Parvati ji. So when Kalapahada, the Muslim invader from Bengal, when he invaded, the then Raja this kingdom, who was then the Jajati family. There was a tunnel from Lingaraj temple to their Durga in Bharavati in Cuttack. So that Durga what they did to save themselves, he with his family and the confident ministers, they went to the tunnel, and Kalapahada did not knew where they went, how the tunnel went, where it will come up. So what he did was that he closed both the ends of the temple, the tunnels. So after few days, when he went back, when the some of the royal confidence started on looking for the family, went to the temple, means the tunnel, and they could not find them anywhere. Means anywhere means within few days, either there was any stones, any flesh, nothing. No means no indication, nothing, nothing. So there was a mystery. Then for many years, the temple was not being worshipped, because the king in the previous means in the ancient days, the king used to take the details of means all the rituals. Then they informed the king of Puri, that is Gajapati. He came there. He could not understand anything from the scriptures. He called up the Deed and Sankaracharya from Puri, and when he came, because he read through the history, he said that okay, let's convert it to a Harihara form, because here means Gopalana form has also come. Then he converted it into a Harihara temple. So where we have a sibling and a Salgram being worshipped in the main Garbhagriha. Again, this temple had four structures: Deola, Jagmohan, Natamandira, and Bhoga Mandapa. Deola was a Pancharatha plan and the Gandhi, and we can see Khatra Mundi on the Deola part. And on the Bada and the Pavaga part, we can see again some Khatra and some Pithamundis. And then on the Pavaga on the right hand side, we see a Vajramundis. I'll not go into details, but I have explained it previously. Now coming on to the Parsha Devtas, which I had mentioned on the three walls. So we have Ganesha Ji, the Parsha Devtas standing. All the Parsha Devtas are standing in a Trivangi form. Ganesha, then Devi Ma Parvati, and Bhagavan Kartikeya, that is Murugan. And then there is this Vajramastaka, where the lion is projecting on a elephant, and then we have this means overall the means Kalasa part. So the if you can see the Amala part of that thing, so previously it was a Siva form, but now because when it got converted into a Harihara form, so it is a Pinaki Dhanu. Now coming on to Jagmohan, it was a Pitha Deola type. We can see that how the tires, and it is a two-tier structure. But in Konark we saw it is a three-tier structure. And then the Natamandira representation, because you cannot get a close-up photo was not there, so I have taken this R.L. Mitra's photo from one of those books of K.S. Behera. And the Bhogamandapa was the latest addition of, we can see the Bhogamandapa starting when you enter from the Singadwara, you can see the Bhogamandapa. Then comes the Varhana Stamba. So now the Vahana Stamba, previously there was a Nandi Vigraha, but since it got converted into a Harihara temple, so we had a Vahana Stamba where we had Nandi and Garuda seated on the top of the Vahana. So now certain of the unique features of the Jagmohan where this Khatra and Pidamundis, and then we have Devi Parvati worshipped as Rajas Rajeshwari and then were Alasa Kanyas. Now coming on to the other thing, I'll let's take another 2 minutes. Parvati Mandira. So if we'll now there were around 108 temples within the Lingaraj temple campus as compared to 120 temples in Jagannath temples campus. So now the Parvati temple is kind of a resemblance of what the Lingaraj main temple is. It has a Rekha Deola, then the Pitha Jagmohan, and then a Nata Mandira and Bhogamandapa designed in the same style. And the temple what people say, the architectural kind of experts say that it is built in the same way the Lakshmi temple within Jagannath Mandir temple in Puri has been designed. Where Devi Ma Parvati is seated in a Lalita Vasana on a Bhisma Padmasana, Bhisma Padma, that is on a Padma, and holding a lotus on her right hand. So certain of the Pavagas we can see again the same way it has been designed like the Lingaraj temple. One of the important aspects you can see one elongated Khakra Mundi here in the north, where it has this representation was literally added because in Lingaraj temple I don't remember if this Khakra Mundi is in the elongated form is existing. Then there was some other subsidiary temple. This is the last slide. So the Ganesha Mandira, which is the Siddhi Vinayak, which we called, it is the same way of the Maharashtra Siddhi Vinayak. Ganesha ji facing the same way. So now when you enter into the temple Singadwara, it is a belief that first you have to take a blessing for Siddhi Vinayak and then enter the main temple. So now this temple had an Saptaratha plan, that is a rectangular Saptaratha, but Lingaraj and Parvati was Pancharatha. And then the Jagmohan was in rectangular plan, means again it went back to the Parshurama because it was added on later. Then we have the Ekamreswar temple and Lakshminarayan temple again in the Rekha Deola. And this is the image of, this is the Murti of Nandi, which was previously there positioned in the first part. And but after the Harihara form, it was moved to a on the right hand, northern side of the wall. So now this is with we end. Before I end, I would like to thank a few people who have helped it out this thing. because being an engineer, because there was an interest to understand architecture and cultural heritage. So I would like to thank two of the pujaris from here. That is, one is Gopinath Nana, and there is one Mantu Nana. They have helped me out with understanding the history and certain of the architectural stories and designs. And then I would like to be thankful to my parents and to Gaurav Pradhan, because he gave me the opportunity, kind of helping out, reaching out to people. And last but the least, I would like to say thanks to Aryan Indian Publication and Indian Cultural Ministry, because with their permission, I could use the images in the PPT.
Thanks, Ashutosh, for a very interesting and enthralling lecture. Kalinga architecture is not, unfortunately, given its due. I think in most of the webinars about temple architecture, mostly people talk about Nagara and Dravida. So I'm so glad. That is the reason why I wanted you specifically to do a full feature on Kalinga architecture, so that we know what a treasure trove of temples Odisha is, and we know how different it is, and yet how confirming it is to the entire thing.
I just need 5 seconds, just 5 seconds. Now there is one important aspect which I forgot, is that how the temple was built on a such huge scale. So what they used to do is that first they used to go from bottom, they used to build one layer, then fill it up with sand. Then the elephants used to bring the other slabs of the stones. They built that thing, behind the architecture. Then they built the next structure. That's how they went. And after the full temple was done, then they removed the sand. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot, Ashutosh, and that was really a wonderful presentation. Thank you for making it interesting. And I'm really sorry that I cannot take the question and answers, because really there is no time.